This episode of the School of Life podcast is brought to you by Miss J's Resumes, ran and operated under the Savvy Solution, LLC. Miss J's Resumes provides quality resume and cover letter writing, review, and tips for the perfect resume start to finish. Miss J's Resumes has proven results. From college students to professionals changing careers, there's room for everyone. To schedule your free consultation or learn more about the Miss J's Resumes Resume Bundle, which includes 6 detailed templates and 2 guides to crafting the perfect resume, visit www.thesavvysolutionllc.com. That's www.thesavvysolutionllc.com.
Wow, Sinatra.
Another day, another dollar. I'm saving just to be broke. They said college was serious, but my degree feel like a joke. 4 years or less, I'm saying I got it done. No playing, just to end up at my mom's after I told her I wasn't staying. Well, here we are. No question, I'm a star. Just got some light years to travel, but it's just so far. But I'ma make it though. Make sure you get your focus right. You coming too? It's about to be one hell of a ride. Yeah, this adults and stuff is crazy. They ain't warn us about this. I'm supposed to live my best life on an unpaid internship. How I'm supposed to find my husband? Everybody running game. I guess the more things change, the more they stay the same. Went from worrying about on flow to running from Uncle Sam. Now I understand why student accounts never gave a damn. Saving accounts be slipping, trying to work out, but I'm tripping. I forgot health insurance. Oh, I'm my mom's until I'm 26, so I gotta pay these student loans. That's adults. With the score doing the most. That's adulting. Moving out of mom's house. That's adulting, but it's all gonna work out. That's adulting. I need a legal side hustle. That's adulting, cause these bills got me in trouble. That's adulting. Journey's course is never planned. That's adulting. Just leave it in God's hands, cause that's adulting.
Hey friends, welcome back to another fabulous episode of the School of Life podcast. I am super excited about today's episode because I am back in Birmingham, my hometown, to record. And I not only have one amazing guest, I have 2 fabulous guests who are going to talk to us about mental health in the Black community, therapy, counseling, things you can practice at home to keep your mental health in check. Aside from the world literally being chaos right now, I just think it's so important for us to know the importance of mental health and for us to know strategies that we can implement to make sure that our mental health literally stays intact. I know personally, I have been to therapy. I'm an advocate for it. If you listen to last week's episode, you know my sister and I, we're crying all over our therapist's couch. Sis needs a new couch, and I told her I would buy her one because it was that deep. But I'm just an advocate, and I think that in the Black community specifically, we don't talk enough about it. I will say, though, the millennials, we be talking about it. We be advocating for it. We talk about it on social media. So I am not fit to give you mental health advice and go all into that. Y'all know what I do. I stay in my lane, and my lane is this podcast and writing. And so I invited 2 amazing Black women who work in mental health to just come on and share with us and have a very candid conversation about not only what's going on in the world, but how we can literally keep ourselves together and intact so we don't fall apart out here. But before we hop into today's discussion, y'all know what to do. Grab your notebook, your journal, or your phone, because the School of Life podcast is in session. All right, ladies, welcome to the School of Life podcast. It is so great to have you today. Let's start with some introductions, and then we'll hop right into our interview. Alexis, you want to start?
Sure. My name is Alexis Long Daniels. I'm a licensed therapist and national board certified counselor, and I'm also a behavioral specialist.
Yes. And Miss Rowe, a 2-time guest. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm Ronnesha Hughes. I am a mental health therapist licensed as an ALC.
Okay, and tell us what that is.
An ALC is Associate Licensed Counselor. Okay. At the time, right now I'm working on my LPC, which is a licensed professional counselor.
Yes, credentials. I am so proud of both of you. I know it has not been easy, and you continue to keep pushing just to become better in your profession and become all that more experienced. So I'm excited. I know the listeners are excited. Let's hop right into today's interview. So tell us how you got started studying mental health, psychology, and what interests you to get into therapy. Alexis, we can start with you.
Okay. Well, in high school, I knew I was interested in psychology, and that was what I was just hell-bent on doing. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a question. I just knew that's what I was interested in. In college, I had to figure out what that looked like for me. Like, did I want to be a psychiatrist? Did I want to be a counselor? And I hadn't really looked at the counseling aspect when I was in college. Until later on when I got more into my classes and things like that. So between trying to figure out what I wanted to do in my own life experiences, in my own experience with counseling and trying to figure out my life and my mess, I knew I wanted to help other people figure out their lives just like someone had helped me.
That's awesome. Great. And what about you, Ro?
It started when I was at the University of Alabama in school. I actually thought I wanted to study biology, but I believe that God pushed me to study psychology. And it just became so interesting over time. I became so invested in it, and I knew that, this is where I needed to be. Mm-hmm. This is what our community needed.
Yeah, perfect. That is a perfect segue into our community and working in mental health in the Black community. What would you say about the Black community makes therapy something that people look down upon?
I think there's a lot of stigma in terms of, it is a lot of stigma, in America, obviously, in regards to mental health. Mental health is something we're just now getting to where we talk about openly. But that's, I think, double that in the Black community. We have a hard time, having people feel comfortable and feel open to talk about their experiences without feeling judged for whatever reason. And I know a lot of times too, like insurance, lack of, affordability, all those types of things come into play for the Black community specifically when we're thinking about mental health and accessibility.
I think that's good. What about you, Ron?
I have to agree with Alexis, especially about the stigma. Our community, sometimes we feel as though mental health is not real. We feel as though, there's nothing wrong with you. Just pray about it. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
Don't
Let's
get me
talk
wrong.
about that. Let's dive into that a little bit, because so many people think just praying about it will make the problems go away. But I'm a believer that you can have prayer and therapy.
Yeah, of course. That's what we're here for. Yeah. That is exactly what we're here for. And so it's important to have both.
I think either way, like if you're using both, or if you feel like your faith is a big part of your life, I do think it's important, like Ronnesha said, to be able to incorporate both, to be able to bring what each piece holds to both. Because I can have scripture and I can have my faith, that I can lean on, but what other resources do I need?
Right.
Do I have someone to talk to, about the questions I have or what I'm going through? What other resources does therapy bring to the table? And I think they work well together if that's what you choose to do.
Yeah. I need to get me a praying therapist. How about that? Because we can pray together.
That's important.
There's plenty of them.
Yes, we're going to get that together.
Also, too, Alexis said lack of resources. There are, and the resources are out there, but the communication of how we get those resources and where they are is sometimes the hard part.
Yeah, I can definitely agree. I know in a previous episode, I talked about my sister and I going to therapy and how it was beneficial, but we would not have known that was even an option had someone not told us. And I'm not even sure how they started going to therapy themselves, but I can only imagine so many other broken people who are looking for help and don't know that you can go to therapy. It does cost, but some insurance covers it, and some people don't even know what their insurance covers. So that's a whole nother thing that, oh my gosh, I can get into that in another episode. But let's talk a little bit about some of the systemic, oppression that Black people have with having access to therapy in general.
Yeah, there's a lot of it when it comes to, because ideally you'd want to think about, therapy as like an open space. That's what we want it to be, a safe space for people to come and talk. We have, all types of professionals, but like any other field, we have people in the field that have different beliefs, and that kind of comes into their therapy office sometimes, even though that's not what it's supposed to do.
Right.
So there is discrimination in treatment facilities, in offices, different things like that do cause people to either, if they've sought out therapy and then they had an experience, they don't go back.
Right.
Or they know about it and don't want to experience that.
I think that's good.
I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree.
Would you say that, would either of you say that there are resources people can easily find now if they are looking for a therapist? I know, like, I've gotten on Google, but is there a directory? Are there places that you ladies like to refer people when they're looking for a therapist?
Yeah, there are a couple that I know for sure. There is psychologytoday.com, theravive.com, and if someone does have Medicaid, medicaiddirectors.org. And also your employer has a program. If they're working, they have programs. The program is EAP, and EAP can refer you a therapist, and there are so many sessions you could have for free.
Okay, wow. I don't know if people knew that. Listeners, if you didn't know that, write that down in your notes. EAP, call your human resources office and ask if you have EAP. And if you do, take advantage of those free resources that are available to you. Are there any you would like to add, Alexis?
Yeah, I would include the Open Path Collective. I'm credentialed through them. They provide therapists and like a directory, but they also provide therapy at reduced rates. So if you don't have insurance and you're interested in therapy or want to seek out therapy, I think the range is $30 to $80 a session. And the therapist can choose and work with you to figure out, what works best for you, what can you pay at this time. And I think there is a membership fee as well, but it's a one-time fee. And then you have access to the therapists that are in your area. And then also, I know therapy for Black girls is one that a lot of people recommend. If you're looking for a therapist that looks like you, they have a lot of people on there that have their information as well. So those are two. There's more, obviously, but those are two really good ones that I think could really help people.
Those are good. I will be sure to tag all of those in the show notes in case anyone would like to find them a therapist and connect with someone who can assist you in navigating your mental health. So speaking of navigating mental health, we all know life is crazy right now. Literally before this recording, we were talking about what's going on and we had to have a moment, y'all, because just getting to this point of being able to hit record and get our lives together, it was a lot. Like, it's life, things are chaotic, but we pride ourselves on acknowledging that moment and letting the moment happen and then pulling ourselves together so that we can continue to live, because life literally does not stop. Let's talk about, how we can take care of our mental health, whether we have a therapist or not, especially in moments like we just had today where it's like a lot going on and we need to bring it together and pull it together. What can people do to just pause in those moments?
I know we were just talking about resources and what's available and what people don't know about. I know if you're a reader and you like to read, there's a lot of great books out there that have a lot of tools in them. You can pick up different workbooks. If you feel like you are struggling with anxiety, find an anxiety workbook, pick that up, and maybe start doing some of the things that they suggest if you can't get to therapy. There's no substitute for therapy. I will say that. But a lot of these resources will assist you if you can, if you have a little waiting time, if you're waiting to get in to see somebody or you're not ready yet, try little things like in a book, or if you see something on Instagram, like a tip, try some of those things that might help.
I think that's good. I've never heard of the anxiety workbooks. I hear so many people talk about having anxiety. I need to probably find me one. I'm going to have to find us one, listeners.
If you don't address it, it can definitely paralyze you.
Yeah, that's good.
But I would suggest learn to take breaks and have a trusted individual. Your friends are not always a good therapist, but sometimes it is good to have somebody that you can just talk to if you can't make it to therapy.
Right.
Someone to just listen to your issues and just not necessarily give you advice, but just having that ear.
Right. Yeah.
I think support systems are really important.
Right.
Yeah.
And do things one by one. Don't try to multitask.
That's good.
Sometimes we can get so overwhelmed, but just learn to take breaks.
Take breaks, yeah. Which we don't do well.
No, we do not. We try to keep pushing and we try to keep going. And sometimes your body has to stop, reset, and start over.
Yeah. I literally
I like what she said.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I like what she said just then about like listen to your body, because that's so important. And a lot of us, if you are busy, if you are moving rapid pace and you're just living life and you think everything is cool, or I got this, I'm pushing through. Right. But like, what is your body telling you? Your body like speaks to you in different ways. Is your stomach hurting? Do you see yourself getting more headaches frequently? Are your eyes and your vision, are you seeing clearly? Pay attention to what your body tells you.
Right. And Alexis said something again. I was just thinking about this before we started. She was like, "You just trying to push through."
Yeah.
And I was at that point, like I'm just trying to push through, and I'm like, you know what, Ronnesha, you have to stop.
Yep.
And you have to just take a break, and you have to reevaluate. Hey, what are you doing? What can you say no to?
Yeah. I think that's good.
What can you say no to?
Right.
Yes,
and then,
I like that.
Alexis, you just posted something that was really good on Instagram about ways to say no. Wow, this is really good. First of all, I had this moment 2 weeks ago where my body literally just shut down. And I was like, whoa, I really felt paralyzed and stuck to the bed because I didn't listen to my body. And this was a clear indication that I was pushing myself too hard. I was literally just pushing through. And I think one thing that I have learned is that taking care of your body is taking care of your mental health. Like when you start to feel overwhelmed, like you ladies were saying, that's a sign. Like take a pause. I think another big thing is giving yourself the permission to do so. I know as someone who overworks, spreads myself way too thin. I be doing the most sometimes. I'm trying to save the world, cure cancer, find a cure for the pandemic. I mean, for the corona. Like, I'm trying to run for president. I'm doing a lot of things. And my body is like, sis, you're only one person. And I have been so conditioned to just push, not realizing that played a big part on my mental health. It gave me headaches. It stressed me out. And my body literally was like, okay, you won't listen to me? I'm going to just put you down. Right. And I had to take a week, y'all. That was the hardest week of my life. I could not get on my laptop. I'm like, Jesus, I got stuff to do. But my body was literally like, not today. Not today. So I'm glad you ladies brought that up because so often I don't think people look at your physical health as a part of your mental health. I think they think it's something that's totally unrelated when in actuality, it's a complete package. One is not separate from the other. Take care of your body, take care of your mind, and you can be, a better person. So aside from resting and pulling away from things, what are some other ways that people can kind of tend to their mental health if they can't go to therapy?
Go outside. I'm not an outside person by any means, but I know when I need sunlight. When we go back to thinking about what our body tells us, I know, especially like in the pandemic and we're, inside a lot more, we're looking at screens a lot more. I literally can feel when my body's saying, you need some sunlight. You need to go outside. You need that vitamin D. Go get a drink from somewhere. Go take a walk. Go look at your tomato plant outside. Do something where you can get some sunlight. So I think doing simple things like that, going outside, call a friend to go walk with you or go exercise with you. Things that, like, don't overthink it. Little things like that are self-care, are taking care of your mental health, and you would really see a difference if you try to do those things.
I love that.
Definitely. I agree. Also, too, make sure you have some alone time. It's okay to just be by yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need that. Sometimes you don't need the distractions of the outside world. Sometimes you just need to focus on yourself. Reading, I love reading. I just finished up this book called Queenie. It was really good.
Okay.
I just finished that too.
Wow.
It was so good.
Y'all tell me about the book. Wait a minute. Now I gotta. Who's it by? I have to go get the book.
It's called Queenie, but it's by, I forgot her name.
I'll get on
Is it? No, I think it's by Candace Carty Williams.
That's exactly what her name is. Yep.
Okay.
It's really good. And it definitely talked about mental health in the book. She had a nervous breakdown.
Really?
And her family did not believe in seeking mental health.
Are you serious?
Help.
Wow.
And she was the first person in her family to see a therapist.
Wow.
And it just showed us how today those things are still going on in families.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
And
it brought in culture too.
Yes, it did.
I think her family was
Jamaican
or something like that, and so it brought that in too. As far as like, what do our families say? Like, what is traditional in our family? How do we deal with things as a family, and what's necessary for us? But then, like, what do I really need?
Yeah.
Because she needed some stuff that her family was not advocating for.
Right.
That's good. I think that's a great talking point there. Just realizing that you need things that your family may not necessarily need or may not even see that you need. I know I'm learning that I'm my own person outside of my family. Like, I'm a complete whole individual with my own values and my own insecurities and my own needs and wants. And it's okay to detach my family from that. So that's good. Y'all go get Queenie. Maybe I need to add that to my book club reading
You definitely
list.
You do.
That sounds
My book
good.
club, we just finished. Well, I finished a
Yeah.
I finished a little bit before them.
No, me and Ronnesha are on the same note because my book club's currently reading it and I've already finished. I had to.
Overachiever.
It's like I couldn't stop reading it.
Wow. Okay, I will be ordering from Amazon. I will definitely be ordering from Amazon. So I know when talking about mental health, a lot of people refer back to their childhood, and a lot of therapists sometimes start there, or we eventually get there because we have to dig up. I'm saying I'm not a mental health therapist. They have to dig up, what is the root? Where is this coming from? Is this a learned behavior? Is this a childhood script? Let's kind of dive into how learned behaviors and our upbringing creates triggers in us. I see that word a lot on social media, and I've talked to people and they are like, I am aware of my triggers. And I've talked to others and they're like, I get mad, but maybe that's a trigger. So let's define those and really dive into how, our upbringing really does contribute to what affects us now.
I think
your child. Go ahead. You got it. Go ahead.
I think a trigger is anything that can disrupt your peace, anything that can set you off, anything that can take you out of your comfortable place. Triggers are so many different things. A lot of times people will think they know their triggers, but sometimes they don't.
Okay.
Triggers can be so many different things: colors, people, relationships, friends, sounds, exactly.
Oh,
Sounds,
wow. Okay.
smells. Any of those things could be triggers, and they can lead back to past trauma.
Gotcha. Okay.
And sometimes we think that certain things that have gone on in our life, certain experiences are not trauma, but it really is.
Gotcha. That's good. That's really good.
And we're talking about triggers right now, and I saw something yesterday. I follow a lot of therapists on Instagram that post a lot of great content, and one of them posted something about triggers yesterday, and like 2 questions to ask yourself. Am I reacting to what's happening right now, or am I reacting to what happened to me in the past, and am I projecting that onto my current situation? And I thought those were 2 awesome questions because, yes, like Ronnesha said, your triggers can be anything, right? They can be sounds, smells, people, places. They can be all those types of things, but like, what do I do with that? When I'm triggered in that moment, do I project that on the person that like has nothing to do with that? Like where that situation is just, that's where we are right now and that's what's happening? Right. Or do I figure out and reflect, okay, I was really triggered by that sound. I was really triggered by that. And it reminded me of this. What do I need to do? Because obviously this is still not solved. This is unresolved trauma, basically.
Right.
That is really good. So what advice would you give to people who are learning their triggers and are trying to figure out, okay, how do I respond in this moment? I know me, once I learned most of my triggers, well, some of them, I'm sure there are probably more, but once I learned, I kind of just pause literally in that moment and I make the other person aware, like, hey, I think you just triggered me, so I'm going to just pause conversation and we can revisit it. So knowing that and knowing that triggers can be so many different things, what are some ways that people can avoid projecting their past trauma when they are in those situations and they become triggered?
I think I would say 2 things. Pay attention, number 1, because like you said, some of the triggers you have, you don't know about. And you may be in a situation where either you thought maybe it was resolved or you didn't even know that it was a problem. And that's something to reflect on in itself that you didn't know. But also, I think learning to respond versus react. And that takes a lot of practice, a huge amount of practice, to be honest. And learning to do that, especially if you've been doing the opposite. But being able to respond to a situation, I think that's really good, what you said. And you're being transparent with other people and saying, hey, let me take a moment because this has done something to me in this moment that I don't like, or that is making me feel differently. I need to take a moment. I need to step away. It's not about you. You're okay. But I need a few minutes before I can come back to this conversation or whatever it is. So I think that's awesome that you do that.
I agree. I do agree. I think that's one of the best things you could possibly do. It's okay to take a step back and process what's going on. Or if you don't want to process it at that moment, you say, hey, I feel a little off right now. You know, my energy is just not, it's not comfortable right now. There's no peace in this conversation. Can we revisit this? Can we table this conversation for right now? And let's revisit. If you're on the telephone with somebody, say, hey girl, hey friend, can I call you right back?
Yeah.
You know, and you don't even have to explain to them what's going on with you if you don't want to, but it's your prerogative to say, hey, I need to call you back.
Yeah. I think that's good, friends. I think that is a great thing that we can all do a little bit more of to avoid reacting in those moments where we have been triggered. Even in relationships, that has helped me a lot because I know, I talked about this in a previous episode, when people yell at me, that's a trigger. Do not yell at me because somebody needs to come get me out of jail. You know, like, don't do that. But I have learned to communicate, hey, you know, babe, what we're not going to do right now is have this conversation. It can't go any further because you just triggered me. And now I'm reminded of, you know, my past. And so let's table this and come back to it. And I can say, I feel it has made me a better person, a better communicator, because in previous relationships, I would just start lashing out. And now I'm mad at you for like 2-3 days because you triggered me. And I'm like, why am I so mad? When really, I'm not even mad at you anymore. I'm mad at at what happened at the person who triggered me. So I think a big takeaway for anyone out there who knows your triggers or you want to become more aware is to really respond versus react. I think that was really good, Alexis. Respond to what is happening. Communicate like, hey, I'm not well right now in this conversation. Let's talk about this. Right. Yeah, let's talk about this later. I can say that therapy helped me see that, which is one of many, many, many benefits of going to therapy, which is why I'm an advocate for therapy. What would you ladies say are some other benefits of finding you a therapist and having that person?
I believe therapy can help you detect different issues that you're going through that you didn't even know. I believe that not only can we tackle the issues that the experiences that you have gone through, but it can help you like realize things that you have suppressed, bring those back to your remembrance and say, hey, this is why this is like this. This is why you're reacting this way. Let's deal with this. Let's get in this moment and see why this is so hard for you or this day is so hard for you.
That's good.
I think seeking out therapy is helpful for a number of reasons. But you know, we want to think of therapy as your safe space, like I said earlier. So, you know, a lot of times we want to go to our friends or we want to go to our family because those are the people that are in our support system or the people that we always go to or we talk to. We know they'll give us good advice. But at the same time, sometimes they may say the wrong thing or they may say something that makes us uncomfortable or something that triggers us. And in your therapy space, it's a safe space for you to talk. It's an unbiased opinion. It's a professional and trained person giving you feedback and not telling you how to solve the problem. That's not the job of your therapist, you know, to tell you how to solve the problem. But they're there to give you, like Ronnesha said, some little things they see. Like, oh, I noticed you said that, or I noticed you did that. So let's think about this in a different way.
Right. I think that's good. I'm an advocate, and my friends know out there. Go to therapy, y'all.
Yes,
Go to therapy.
Don't be ashamed.
Right. Do not be ashamed, especially in this day and time when, oh my gosh, first of all, life is overwhelming. We already established that. I need a drink just thinking about it. But second of all, social media and what's going on around us and just our everyday being and existing in this world truly can take a toll on our mental health and on how we show up in the world. Let's dive a little bit into how social media really affects our mental health. I know one big thing is the comparison game, and that has just, people have committed suicide and relationships have ended, and it's just been a hot mess. You know, social media is a great tool, but it can also be very damaging to our mental health. Let's talk about that. What have you seen in your profession in regards to social media really taking a toll on people's mental?
I think what you said just now is really good, that social media is a good tool if it's used in the right way. Because, you know, it is there for information, right? It's there to give us news and to see what our friends are doing, to get tips from therapists or whoever else you follow. But yes, it can be a situation where it becomes a hindrance to you if you are comparing yourself, or if you're on it too long and you see yourself getting anxious about the things you see, or you're getting triggered by the things you see if you've had the same experience or a similar experience. So I think it's important for you to give yourself time, maybe some limits, if you need them, as far as social media is concerned, because it can become overwhelming, just like life.
Right. Especially when sometimes people may not see what's realistic and what's entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, I know you've said something before, and you was like, a lot of times on social media, people are giving their movie reel. I think so.
Yeah.
If we don't, if people are not mentally stable to know what is realistic and what is entertainment, it can become so overwhelming because we feel like, oh, I'm behind. Oh, I'm supposed to be doing this. Well, this person has this, but they also have this. So why don't I have this? We both went to this same school. So why, you know, so it can get hard. It can get very overwhelming.
And there's so many messages out there on Instagram and things like that too, that say, like, you know, a lot of that was floating around at the beginning about, if you don't take this time during quarantine to be productive,
and start a business. Everyone want to start a business.
Everybody not destined to.
Exactly.
And shouldn't.
Everybody's not supposed to be an entrepreneur. You know, people are. Yeah, I agree.
And you're in a pandemic too, so think about that. You know, there's so much more going on than, okay, I have some free time to be productive. Like sometimes, you know, being at home is not a safe space for everybody.
Yes.
So while you're at home and you're looking for productivity, somebody's looking for a way out of their home.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to look at the whole picture.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think people should mind their business. No, I'm just no, really.
No, drink your water and mind your business.
No, seriously, because Alexis, you made a great point. I remember even just as a kid, not that home was not physically safe, it wasn't mentally safe or emotionally safe. And so my sister and I got into every after school program there was. If it was mopping the floors, chess club, planting flowers, building Legos, you know, whatever it was, I was like, Mom, sign me up. Or, hey, I'm a part of this club, and it was because I didn't want to go home. And so I can't even imagine, you know, being an adult with all of the other pressures, you know, going on, and how social media is projecting you should be doing these millions of things, or else you're failing, or you don't have your life together. One thing that is kind of like my motto is, just like I surround myself with friends who speak positive things to me and who are like-minded, I try to filter my social media, you know, the same way. I know, of course, like ads come up and some things are just inevitable because I follow so many people. But the majority of the people who I follow, I try to make sure I intentionally follow them. Like people who post reminders like, hey, it's okay, take a break. Hey, you're not alone. Life is hard. I'm with you, so that I don't become overwhelmed, because it can be overwhelming. I literally can feel in my body if I'm scrolling too much, and I'm like, okay.
And you have to get off.
You have to get off.
And if you're feeling overwhelmed and you feel like it disrupts your peace, it's okay to hit that unfriend button.
Yeah.
Right. Because Jacqueline said that when she just said, you know, be intentional with who you follow, but be intentional about who you unfollow.
Exactly.
As well.
I like that. I don't think people
because
really...
some people gotta go.
Yes, exactly. Yes. I don't think people look at social media as a deterrent that's not the word I'm looking for. Social media can really affect your mental health. That's what I want to say. And I don't think people look at it that way.
It can.
And I just want people to know, like, it's such a big, big thing, and it's a big, big deal in our day and time, but it is okay. Like, unfriend, unfollow, delete the app, take a minute off, take a day off. It is okay to detach because it's going to still be there when you're ready to go back.
And set that screen time, like Alexis said.
Yes.
Set your screen time.
Yeah, mine is not.
Yeah, we're still struggling with screen time over here, but
I'm going to check
good
mine.
tip.
Let's see what my screen time is for the week. Now, I will put a disclaimer. If you are a business owner or entrepreneur or you're doing your dang thing, I understand if your screen time is kind of high. But even as an entrepreneur, we want to be intentional about how we're having our mental health affected as well and how much screen time we're using, because I think it's even more pressure on entrepreneurs because you see other people posting 18 times a day, posting they did this, they did that, and you're like, dang, I'm behind. And so it's important for us as well to kind of take a step back. So today,
and I think too,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I have a friend that's also a therapist, and when we're talking about social media and our limits and maybe taking some time off, he definitely always says, if I don't hear about it and if I need to see it, my friend or somebody is going to let me know if this is news that I just got to see.
Yeah.
Like, social media is not something you have to be on. Because I know a lot of people feel like, well, that's where I get my news from. That's where I get my information. If you really need to know, somebody's going to let you know that you need to know.
Somebody going to send you a screenshot.
Yeah. I need to have that policy because I have been the person like, I get my news from here. But you're right. There have been things that I have read like on Twitter, and then an hour later, my friend will send me like, did you see this? And I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
You're right. So thank you for that good point, Alexis. Today, my screen time right now, daily average, I'm embarrassed, 6 hours, 42 minutes.
Don't be embarrassed.
I need therapy.
You don't want to know what mine is.
And 4 minutes. 8 hours and 4 minutes.
Your daily average?
Right now.
Wow.
My daily average is higher than both of y'all, so I'm going to be quiet.
Is it 9 hours?
It's 11.
Ooh, Lexi.
No, okay, no judgment.
Told y'all we struggling over here with the screen time.
Let's see. Today alone, I've spent 2 hours and 34 minutes on. And let me take that back. What I've learned about the screen time, and not that this is a justification, but a lot of different apps play into your screen time.
Yes.
And Safari is one of them.
Yeah.
So I do like read things and I'll Google something really quick. So that does play a factor. I guess I should look more at the actual social media apps. Because even like messages play into it. I'm going to look into it. Another thing with screen time and just screen activity that helps me is having a downtime on my phone. So you can set that in your settings. If you've never heard of it, just go literally into settings, screen time, and it's an option to create a downtime. And mine is from 11 p.m. to 8 a.m. And it really should probably be from 10:30 p.m. to 8 a.m. And during that time, I try not to be on social media at all. I try not to even Google things because, one, I should be asleep. And I believe somewhere I read that not looking at your phone when you're winding down to go to bed will give you a better night's rest. And then I don't want to wake up and the first thing I'm doing is picking up my phone because it sets the tone for your day. And that is a part of your mental health. That plays a part in how you're approaching the day, how you're viewing yourself, how you're viewing others. So if y'all haven't set your downtime, I highly encourage you to do so because it has helped me. It has definitely helped me. So before we get out of here, is there anything else you ladies want to share? Anything we didn't cover? I feel like our conversation was so quick but so packed with some great gems and great talking points.
I would just say if someone is interested in therapy or if you're thinking about it, because I recently had to walk a friend through if she's ready for it, if she's not ready for it, what that looks like for her. So I think it's important while therapy is a tool for us, right? It's a resource. It's something that benefits everybody across the board, in my opinion. But if you're not ready for it, reflect a little bit more. Think about why. Write some things down. What are you still working through? What do you want to work on when you get to therapy? Try to think within yourself and figure out what that resistance is that you have towards therapy so you can reflect and figure out what's best for you.
Gotcha. That's good.
I agree. Make sure you're intentional. I don't know if Alexis said this, but just be intentional and protect your peace.
That's good. What ways do you ladies protect your peace? I know people are always on Twitter talking about, I'm protecting my peace, which I'm not saying they aren't. That sounds like I was hating. I'm not hating. If you protecting your peace, I think that's great. But what are practical ways that we can protect our peace in this day?
I think for me, it's not engaging. So, like, if I'm having a conversation with someone, kind of like what we talked about earlier, if I'm having a conversation with someone and I feel that I'm getting upset or something they said is bothering me, hey, let me call you back. Or, hey, I'll talk to you later. You don't have to give them an explanation. You got things to do. You can say no without an explanation. But that's one big one for me is learning not to engage when my body, when my mind is telling me, all right, that's it. You reached your cap for this conversation.
Right.
That's good.
Learn how to disconnect.
Yes.
Learn how to disconnect.
Not engage and disconnect. That's good. I need to practice both of those.
Me too.
Me too.
Especially saying no. I don't know what it is about my ability to not say no. I've gotten better, but
it's hard.
It is very hard.
It's really
hard.
hard.
I still have a ways to go because I feel like I don't want to say I owe people things. I just feel like I have to show up for everybody. Yeah. And then when nobody shows up for me, I'm like, Earth to J. I mean, J to her. You know, Paige and Help Houston, we have a problem. So I definitely want to work on saying no. Literally, this week I had someone ask me to do something that I did not want to do. And I couldn't find the words to say no, or like, you know, hey, you didn't pay me for that, or I'm not giving out any handouts. You know, I just couldn't. So I found a way to still do it. It was just a mess. Like, thinking back on it, I'm like, why did you even do that, Jay? Right. So I want to do better at just saying no and not even having to feel like I have to tell a reason, you know, just no.
Right. Just
no.
And sometimes that's instinctual, right? Instinctually, we feel like we have an urge, you know, to give a reason. We have to tell them why we can't do it. We can't just say we're not available when really you don't owe them that. Like you were talking about owing people things. You don't owe anyone an explanation. I'm unavailable. I'm not able to do that right now.
Right.
Period. I think I read, city girl, I read somewhere that no is a complete sentence. No,
it is.
It is.
No, period. Literally.
That's it. No exclamation point. Like, no, we're not.
You can add a thank you if you want. No, thank you.
But no, we're not doing that.
I'm going to have to try that, ladies. Oh,
it's going to take time because I promise you, I'm still, you know, I'm still battling that. But at the same time, it feels so good when you can say no to something that you don't want to do. And you like, man, I feel so good. Yeah, that sounds free.
It's empowering.
Yes.
Yes.
No is empowering. I like that.
It's black girl magic for real.
Yes. No is the new black girl magic. Yes. I'm putting it on a t-shirt because
we need to trademark that real quick.
Listen, listeners, don't be going out there trying to steal our saying. If I see you with it, I'm gonna knock you out. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes,
just credit us. Make sure you credit us.
What it is, just credit us.
Put a TM with a circle around.
I'm gonna make that a caption. You know what, ladies? I'm gonna make that a little tweet or something and put the TM. No, it's the new black girl magic. Yes.
It's okay to say no.
And there is power and magic in saying no. You give yourself so much freedom.
Yes, there's
no. Yeah. Yes, there is. I'm just dropping all the gems. There is power in saying no. If y'all hear us pausing, it's because we really are writing this down. And I hope you are too. Listen, friends, this has been a great episode. I appreciate you ladies for taking the time out of your day. What the listeners don't know is that this was a re-record because we had some technical issues. And so I'm just thankful that I am surrounded by friends and colleagues who will show up for me, you know, and show up for you guys. Like anything that we do, and I say we because I consider my guests a collective. Anything we do is so selfless and so not even about us. You guys probably only know half the things, you know, we may be dealing with as we share in our transparency. But the truth is, we know we deal with those things because our life, you know, doesn't even belong to us. And so we show up and we give and we share because we care, first of all, and we just want to see everybody win. I think I can speak for, you know, the ladies when I say we want to see everybody win.
Everybody.
Life is not easy. And nowadays, I don't know if I'm going to comment. I don't even know what day it is. I'm literally sliding on faith. I'm not even walking at this point. I'm just
coasting through. That's all we're doing is coasting through.
That's all we're doing. And if we can show up and coast through for you guys, we want to encourage you to show up for yourselves and then go do that for someone else. If everyone just lends a helping hand, even if it's giving advice or being a listening ear or encouraging someone to go to therapy or, you know, gifting someone a therapy session, whatever it is, buying some groceries for an elderly neighbor, like all of that plays a part into mental health and how you show up in this world and being your true self. So I'm excited we got to do the re-record, ladies. I could go on and on. I appreciate you guys. Today has been crazy, but we made it.
Right. And if you guys need us, if you guys need anything,
come on, co-host.
You know, like Jay said, we want to see y'all win. Like, really. You guys can hit me up on Instagram. I'm Ronnesha_Sade on Instagram. I am an open book. I'm very transparent. Anything that I could do to help anybody, I don't mind. If I don't know how to do it, I will definitely plug you in with somebody who could help you. If you guys need a counseling session, therapy session, I'm with Alabama Wellness and Recovery. If you guys just Google that, I'm sure Jay will put it in the show notes.
Yes, come on. Look, okay, podcaster.
But please do not hesitate to reach out. Alexis?
Yes, my social media, you can find me at sincerelylexthetherapist.__. And my company is called Work the Wellness Counseling. I practice via In Touch Counseling Agency, LLC, here in Birmingham. We are accepting clients. Come our way. Give us a call. We're more than happy to help you. And like Ronnesha said, if you need anything, I'm on Instagram. You can reach out to me there. I'm always posting stuff. Tell me what you need more help with, what you want more tips on, and I'll be there.
We got you.
I will definitely add that in the show notes. Thank you to my co-host for making sure I didn't forget. Listen to team effort. Y'all know, and if you're looking for the information now, again, you can swipe up literally right now. Look in the show notes. There will be a link to their socials, to the websites. Book you a session. Get your mental health together. Before we get out of here, it will not be the School of Life podcast without some homework. That was not a good tone. I don't think the listeners know that I used to wish I could sing, but that's another story. Anyhow, what would you ladies say the homework should be for the listeners today?
I would say just take some time for reflection. I know personally, before I started my journey to mental health for myself and in my program, I didn't take enough time to reflect on what was really going on in my life. Take some time, write some things down, figure out what's really going on with you.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
I agree. And definitely be intentional about everything that you do in life, regardless of what it is. Be intentional.
I love that. Be intentional. Take some time to reflect. Those are good homework assignments. I won't even add any on top of that because that's enough. Being intentional is hard enough. So y'all go out there and do both. Again, that'll be tagged in the show notes. Well, ladies, I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much.
We're going to have to do another one just on life and getting it together and figuring it out. All right, friends. I hope that this episode has been beneficial to you. Y'all know I love you guys. Thank you for rocking out with me. I'm still on cloud 9 that we are in our 1 year. Well, we passed 1 year. We're going into whatever comes after a year, too. So thank you again. I love y'all. Y'all know this podcast exists to be a tool for you to grow, for you to learn more about yourselves and to know, like, you're not alone in anything that you do. Some days I don't even want to get up and come to this here studio, but I show up because I know that it is not about me. Just like your life, it's not about you. So take care of you, take care of your mental health. Keep evolving, keep praying, and keep growing. Talk soon.
That's adulting. For the score doing the most. That's adulting. Moving out of mom's house. That's adulting. But it's all gonna work out. That's adulting. I need a legal side hustle.